1650 the trip once more for race number 6. This is a Class 3 contest headed by Literature. It's a bit of a revelation towards the back end of last year. He's won 2 from 3 course and distance. Jade Fortune, a course and distance winner, pretty good himself. That was back in June. Razor Quest, a 5-time winner over the mile. They've been at Shartin though. Magnetism won his final start course and distance back in May. With a scratching of Unicron Jury means Call Me Awesome whips him in. Another last start winner.
Yes, and Call Me Awesome led a recent trial too, so he's likely to roll forward as he did last start in Class 4 when he won. Art of Raw actually ran quite well in that same trial, but his form on the board doesn't look as exciting. Magnetism, I think, will be a little bit closer as he was when he won last start, but the pace doesn't look to be strong at all.
2 horses I'll concentrate on. I think 2 of the main chances. Literature here, he's been well prepared leading into this. He's had a couple of really good gallops. Here's his last one, and that was back on the 11th September. And Magnetism, the other one, Dave Ferraris has got Call Me Awesome, who's changed stables with him. He's the likely leader, and Magnetism can get a nice run behind, and Joe Moreira's riding him. So they're the 2.
What about Literature last season, Paul? We saw that race where he just sort of took control and zipped around them and really pulled and over-raced. Was it just a one-off?
I think so. I haven't seen that, to be honest, in the track work.
Okay,
everything
good.
I've seen has been back to when he won his races.
Excellent.
That was 1,800 metres. They just went a little bit slower, didn't they? Don't forget, this is one of the Quartet First 4 merged jackpots here, $1 million on races 4, 6 and 8 on Wednesday nights. Why don't we start with Literature in actual fact. This is him out wide, covering a bit of ground. Never comes off the bridle.
No, it's interesting because he did pull a little bit 2 starts ago when he won for Zach from barrier 5. He was quite handy. He defeated Unicorn. He was a little handier that race, and maybe it just sort of got in his head that maybe he can race like that too. And then last start he had the clear excuses when he just overdid things. It wasn't anybody's fault. But as Paul's touched on, it's good to see him like this because I think he's going to be more effective when he lets down late.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to put it down to one of those things. And I think back to 1650, as Andrew said, they'll go slightly quicker as well, which will be a good thing.
We're all entitled to a little head full of steam from every now and again, Andrew.
Absolutely. Sure, that's directed out. But we'll move on to Jade
one in
Fortune,
particular.
who he likes to get back. He gets home very strongly. If these 2 line up at the top of the straight, this is going to be some jewel.
Yeah, it'll be a really good finish. I don't think he's as wound up as Literature, what I've seen, though, at the moment. He's 17 pounds up in weight. So of the 2, I'd side with Literature being more forward for this particular contest.
OK, interesting. He did look good when he won last season, no doubt about that, as we're seeing here. But then wasn't quite as impressive behind Outlawed. I'm going to play him safe. I've got him in the tips only because he's drawn well, but I take Paul's point.
Zach was riding him there, of course. I wouldn't read too much into it because I think he's probably got a long-standing association with Literature. He's always going to ride him, but he will be riding the 1 as opposed to the 3. Magnetism, last start winner at the back end of last year. So can he come back? How's he looking in the morning?
It's interesting. Magnetism last season had 2 wins, one at the very beginning of the season and then one at the very end. And on this occasion, he was able to posse up handy from barrier number 2, sit a touch closer. Prior to this, he ran 4th behind Literature when he actually got further back. I'm going to take a chance with him again from the good barrier because I'm not overly confident with some of the others and there's not a lot of pace in the race.
I've got him in. Those 2 wins of 59, 61, he's up to 67. So some of the other horses have had a bit of relief in the off-season. He hasn't, obviously, winning at the back end of the season.
Good point.
But in saying that, Joe Moreira, barrier 3, I've snuck him in as well. I haven't got him on a win line, but I think he'll run OK. It'll be interesting with Dave Ferraris got a couple of runners in the race, what the tactics will be.
All right, OK. Well, another horse who knows how to find the winning line, certainly at Shartin, is Razor Quest, and his jockey is Karis Teaton.
Razor Quest, Karis, all of his wins have been over the mile at Shartin. How do you think he'll perform at Happy Valley on Wednesday night?
Yeah, he's an old horse and he knows his way around here. His last run was pretty good. I've tried him this season. He felt like he's going well. I believe that he's still got a little bit more to show. Of course, he's been here at Shartin, but now he's going to the Valley. Maybe some change for him could do a trick. He's working nicely, so I'm happy to be on him.
Is he the sort of horse that takes a while to wind up with his run, or has he got a good turn of foot when you need it from him?
Yeah, he can take a little bit of time to get going, but he's a type of horse you cannot rush him. He will not finish off. So type of horse that you need to ride very cold, and he definitely have that last 400 meter that he will give you all his best. So he's the type of horse, like I said, you need to just leave him alone and let him finish.
He's only actually had 2 starts at Happy Valley, so we can't say that he doesn't handle the track, but all his wins have been at Sha-Tin.
Trial leading in was suggesting that he's feeling well. He just takes a little bit of time to wind up. I had him in 5th in case there was a withdrawal, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him feature.
You know, I haven't got him in. I'll wait till he gets to Sha-Tin.
Back to Sha-Tin.
Yeah.
All right, tough race. This is the 6th, the San Antonio handicap, Paul. Who's on top?
I'm going to go with Literature, back to 1650, a bit more extra pace in the race. I think he's a class horse. And when he did win his first of those 3 races, the sectionals were amazing. And they were Class 1 sectionals. So everything shows me he's back. 10 Flames has got a really good fresh-up record as well. He's been placed a few times. Magnetism should get a nice run. Jade Fortune, I've got him in for 4th, but I still think he's a bit on the big side at this stage. 1593, I'll just be back in the 1. Just get on.
Fair enough, Paul. I'm going to tip Magnetism only because I think he can sort of box seat, and Literature will be behind him. I think Literature's the better horse, though, so if he can get into the clear and unleash that sectional he's capable of, he may well cut him down. Jade Fortune on a safety aspect. I'm going to throw Divine Boy in as well. He's getting down to a competitive rating. He's working well. Ultimately, 1200 at the Valley might be better, but I think he'll be sort of 10, 12 to 1, and I'll make him the sort of long shot type of selection. So 9, 1, 3, 4. I suggest you play the trio or the trifecta. Banker the 9 Roving with 1, 3, 4 and 6.